little sticker on my... Okay.
Well, hello, person watching us
Yes,
live.
hello. You, you know.
I
We're about to
mean,
pick
we're only
up...
professionals.
Yeah, we're about to pick up a meeting with a mysterious stranger. So you can see the hostess at the hotel bar is about to wave you all away when suddenly she kind of sees the three of you and assesses you and gestures for you to come in. The hotel bar is completely empty. There's a number of like freestanding tables and booths kind of scattered about. The only two individuals you see are a man who is seated at the bar currently. His back is towards you. He's wearing a heavy, like, looking cloak with the hood down. And you can also see the halfling bartender kind of standing on an upraised platform behind the bar, scurrying between him and the tap, filling his mug and rushing it back to him. He glances over his shoulder as he hears the three of you come in. It looks, for all intents and purposes, like this place is closed. You think that's what the hostess was about to inform you of. But you believe this is the figure or the individual who has inquired after you. He looks over his shoulder and then just kind of like gestures for you all to come have a seat at the bar.
All right, we'll rush on over and grab a seat. Hi, I'm a ghost. Who are you?
I am much more on guard than that.
Same. Same.
If the bartender is still there, I'll just kind of point at a bottle of red and
Yeah. So
pour
quick,
away.
yeah, the halfling he hops over to a small step ladder and clambers up to that bottle of red to get down for you. But as you all approach the bar and a ghost, this guy just kind of like looks at you. He sees the unicorn headband that you're wearing and the
Of course.
and the loud purple and green cloak, I think, or you're very oddly dressed.
It's a very dashing cloak, yes.
He says, "Yeah."
Be the word for it.
He says,
No
"Yeah."
one to talk. 7 foot tall, blue scales, and shoots lightning.
I don't even have to wear a cloak.
It's true.
Ostentatious.
Yeah.
But he looks at you and your kind of exuberant manner, and he goes, "Yes, you're that strangely constructed Warforged. I've heard a bit about you. You've done a service for the university. We're interested to perhaps know if you're willing to do additional services."
Well, I did just pick up a whole class load. I'm working on a degree, so, I have to manage my time a little better, but I'm interested. Right, Gideon? We're interested?
Depends on who is our employer and how much we're being paid.
Both good questions. Do you have answers to those questions? Who are you, by the way? You haven't told me that yet. I'm a ghost. This is Gideon. This is Azure. Who are you?
He introduces himself as Kane. And he nods, each of you in turn hearing your names, and he says, yes, I've spoke with Fedic Doring. You delivered a package to the archives, and that package is pending inspection by a subject matter expert who is currently indisposed.
We are not at liberty to confirm or deny that.
But we totally did.
He nods deeply. He takes a big swig of his drink at that.
Exactly this. Exactly.
I'm cackling. This is hilarious.
He says, "One of you has learned well. The lot of you," and he kind of like looks around. "You're missing one. Small fellow, you thought I wouldn't notice?"
He's indisposed right now.
A lot of that going around. But the lot of you come recommended by friends in Korenberg. Or a friend in Korenberg. I don't know if he's your friend or not. What'd you say?
That friend. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have many friends.
Yeah. He says prickly type. I'm not the hugest fan, but as for who your employer would be and the reward, that would be promised. The Crown is your employer. That's as much as you need to know. And the reward, it depends on what you get done. As I see it, there are two paths forward at the moment. One of them, risky, life, death, that whole situation. The other one, slightly less risky, slightly less death, probably more life. Whatever. He takes another drink. As I said, the package that you delivered is pending inspection, as you may know. Fedek may have mentioned in passing that the current expert on Dakani artifacts is not present in the city. That being said, I believe that she will not be present in the city for some time unless we intervene on her behalf. Or, if you are the types to go off half-cocked, draw the bowstring back halfway and let loose come what may, then maybe we just deal with the source of the problem.
I don't have
Or insinuating that she's
bowstring.
been kidnapped.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I heard you insinuating she's been kidnapped. He would say, no, not kidnapped.
She's been adult napped.
This one's a character.
Teacher napped? Smee napped.
Detained on shaky legal grounds, perhaps. A ways from here, across the sea. He kind of gestures out south from your general bearing. A ghost, you would know that because you know what direction north is. Yeah, you can see that he gestures broadly to the south, which means, across the ocean.
Michael, question, is that Zendrick? Is that basically what we're pointing at?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would say, what was that?
That forsaken continent.
Well,
I've not been, but it's been my understanding that there is no law in Cedric.
You would be
Save
correct.
the law of the jungle.
largely, I would agree with you, except in the city of Stormreach, there is a group of individuals wealthy enough to hold sway over goings-on there, call themselves the Coin Lords. Anyway.
They could do better. I'd workshop that a little bit.
Well, he looks at you and he goes, "You like jokes. Have you heard this one yet? What's the difference between a coin lord and a thief?"
I don't know.
A thief has the decency to pick your pocket from behind.
Ooh. Oh, all right. I like it.
Allegedly, this employee of the Morgrave University, this archaeologist, Adnaidini Sinoj, Kalishtar. I had to practice saying that a few times. She was found in the cellars in the harbor district there in Stormreach. Apparently, it was one of the Coin Lord's wine cellars. Others in her expedition say that they were exploring a series of tunnels related to, I don't know, the Drow, the Giants, whoever occupied where Stormreach stood now. In that she probably stumbled in there by accident, through a secret door or some such nonsense. I'm not much for dungeon delves. But regardless...
Great university archaeologist finds her, manages to lose her way and find her way into a wine cellar. Something smells off.
From what I hear... From what I hear, all the sewers and catacombs in the harbor district are interlocking mazes of traps and kobold shit. It's possible. But if there's more to the story, nobody else in her expedition seems to be forthcoming with that information. That being said, she's being detained, trespassing, attempted burglary, etc., etc. Trumped up charges. But the coin lords don't quite see eye to eye with the university. The university and the Wayfinder Society, they'll issue you writs to go and plunder Zendrick, and it's all legal as long as you have that paperwork. The coin lords say that they're closer to all those relics, that they're more the responsible party for things of that nature, and no one can come to an agreement to give them a percentage or anything of that like. So, in all likelihood, how she ended up there maybe is up for investigation, but until she comes back, I don't think anybody is going to know much about that package. You can see he kind of stops himself and, and finds that word that you all delivered. Now, that being said, I'm not much for research and books and the like. To me, our problem is that way. And he points to the west. A ghost, you know.
They Droam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our problem is that way. And we have operatives out near that border looking into the activities of certain toothy individuals. And he kind of, he puts his thumb under his canine to, he's not saying anything. The halfling bartender, by the way, is just like almost scrubbed like the varnish off the bar. He's just got his head down, like he's very adamant about not listening. Yes. So you look over at him nervously, but he does kind of like side eye at Gideon's glass and goes to refill it.
Good man.
You could.
Copper.
Whether you want to make your way down south and spring our friend Sinoj from the Coin Lord's custody, or whether you want to head west and cause some trouble for the ones who are probably behind all of this unpleasantness. Two paths, both dangerous in their own ways.
I'd like to go on a wild pirate adventure. We have business in Droam, do we not?
No.
Your vision.
That is true.
Kane raises an eyebrow. Yeah, you're some sort of...
So what happened is I'm just going to tell him the entire story.
Okay. You read him in. He finishes his drink. The halfling pours another. Propellers spin. Star wipe. But no, he
All right.
he hears all that, and he says, unlikely story. Probably true. Very strange. Caravan arriving from the crag. Officially, the daughter's stance is that the Fangs don't represent their interests. Could just be that there's merchants in the crag that are aligned with them, consider them freedom fighters instead of terrorists. Or it could be that they are backed by the government. Could be one of the sisters is supplying them, and the other two don't know. Sounds like it's going to be a tough nut to crack.
Yeah. I probably at this point have a couple coins down on the bar, just as the barkeep is keeping the wine flowing. And just kind of pick one up, spin it on the bar top. In the end, it all comes down to payment.
Mm-hmm.
And I stop the coin on edge. What sort of recompense are we looking for? Or are we looking at, rather?
I like you. Practical type. It's hard to say. The size of the thing, it could be enormous. If you get there and you find out that the whole organization is in the pockets of the Daughters of Sorakel and you bite off way more than you can chew, we will have to pay quite a hefty sum to your families.
I don't chew. This is just for looks.
If you take on more than you can handle, let's say.
No. Three-finger hand. I don't know.
So let's work in hypotheticals then. We cross the border into Droam, cause some sort of great disruption, come back alive even.
Service like that to the crown, that's worth thousands, perhaps. Knighthoods, perhaps. Deeds. Maybe not property here in Sharn. That's not a lot of it to go around. We can only build so high. But accolades befitting a undertaking of that stature, certainly.
What do you think, Gideon?
I think standard mercenary rates are a third up front.
What's a third of a knighthood? One of you wants to be knighted right now?
Let's get a third of a knighthood.
Yeah, he laughs. He says, well, you've got more information here than I had at the start of this conversation. You're saying a tour out in the Stonelands, north of the Great Crag. You mentioned guards, you mentioned a caravan of supplies incoming. Probably a big operation. Let me check in with our agents on the border, see what they make of that. See if we can get eyes out there, get a head count. Look, I'm sure you all heard. I know you all have met at least one statue made from all this. And I'm sure you all heard about that noble's kid. The diplomat's kid, rather. Best we can figure, one of the Medusa involved must be pretty powerful. Maybe even the blood of the Queen of Stone herself. You root out the source of the enchantment that's turned them to stone. You cut her down. That would be a huge step in the right direction. That would be the ultimate goal, I would think. I don't think you're going to go in there and cut down everybody in that nest. But if that's where the fangs are layering, wherever you can find the one who's been making those symbols and petrifying these innocents. Yeah. I heard your guy was part of the Aurum. Maybe not so innocent. He'll finish his drink and put the mug down. Like I said, I'll check with the rest of my colleagues. See what we can find out and verify what's been said here.
Travel, expenses, and a quarter payment up front.
Oh.
And you have my hammer.
He nods. He looks over at the halfling bartender who, after he's refilled your glass, has kind of he turned his back and started polishing some empty goblets and things. He says, "None of this ever happened. This conversation never occurred."
No, it just did. Like, I showed up and I asked you a question, and then you And I'm going to repeat everything that just happened.
He slides a few coins on the bar and he says, maybe explain it to that one.
I don't understand, Gideon. We're playing the quiet game, okay.
You'll be in the city for a few days longer. I'll find my way to you again.
Know any good Cyran places? For dinner.
Dinner. Cyran. Cyran food's always been a bit too bland for my taste, but over in Tavik's Landing, the further down you go, they put up all sort of refugee in that area. I'm sure one of them would even be so kind as to invite you in for a meal with the family if you ask nice enough.
Oh, that would be great.
Lost quiet game, sorry.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, he turns and kind of stalks off at that point.
I like him.
You like everybody.
I mean, he is going to pay us.
Maybe. He seemed unsure of a lot of things.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
wondering which pathway means the least amount of death. I mean, Cedric is pretty well known as death. Humid, horrible death.
If we travel to Droam, we will be shedding blood.
We should really ask Valian.
I'm sure he, given the choice, would want to head to Stormreach.
Really?
Quite. If nothing else, the pirate lords there are open to negotiation. And if nothing else, our gnomish companion
Is a
loves to
negotiator.
negotiate.
They're also known going back on their word, so.
True. That said, the hags of Droam would likely flay muscle from bone and, cook you.
Okay, so that's the way with more death.
Quite.
Okay. You know how to pick them.
Perhaps we should let fate decide. Oh, look at the halfling. Do you know anyone named Fate?
He snickers. And this is again, you've been trying to understand humor and learn the formula for telling jokes, but people laugh at the strangest things you say.
Yeah.
They laugh at your honest questions.
I'm writing that down in my book. Why was this funny? Maybe that's what my correspondence course should be on, humor.
There you go. I'm just picturing you doing observational humor stand-up.
Mm-hmm. What's the deal with towers?
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Right.
Why are they so tall?
I don't know. I am open to either. I imagine if we're going to go into Droam as a plausibly deniable covert ops, go screw over the daughters of Sora Kell sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a lot more physically dangerous to us.
Yeah.
That said, the idea of trying to bust someone out of a pirate prison, I don't want to have the coin lords as I don't want to be on their crap list. That said, they are a continent away,
It's hard for them to get to us.
and from what I understand, I don't know it well, but they tend to keep their sphere of influence is Stormreach.
Mm.
Their reach is not far. Nor do they care for it to be.
Yeah.
The one thing that would sway me is that a ghost, if you are interested in following up on your vision, that leads us that direction.
That does seem to be more in line with our current goals, as I see them.
Cedric is quite literally the opposite direction.
Yeah, but at the same time, translation of his dream and such as it relates to the heart at Seaball. It's I don't know, might be something we need from someone who's in prison
That's true.
in order to make
That,
sense of it. I don't know.
that did start our journey, so perhaps we should circle and like nip that thread before we go too far afield.
I would say Zendrick is further afield than Droam. Droam would be an
It's almost
overland
fine,
journey,
yeah.
not
Right.
literally across, an ocean.
Yeah.
Good night, Remy. I mean, and Michael doesn't know this, but how long of a journey would it take by boat to get to Zendrick versus how long by wagon would it take to get to Droam?
You're probably, a few days to a week's travel by wagon or by foot or by horse or whatever to Droam. You're near that border-ish. Just have to get up over the mountains, the Grey Wall Mountains, I think. Getting to Zendrick takes a bit longer, depending on the method of conveyance. Standard sailing ship, airship. Those are two different approaches, but I think
Ooh,
it's...
you said airship.
Yeah.
Better take an airship.
I've always wanted to take an airship.
You could use feather fall.
Yeah. Let's see.
Have your own parachute built in.
Yeah.
Neither of these is going to be. You're not going to be able to keep your hands clean.
Oh, I've never worried about that. No, it's fine. It's fine. They're not clean already.
That said, I'm not an instrument of stealth. The idea of attempting to slip unnoticed into a coin lord's prison does not appeal. So, if we're taking votes, I would sooner go to Droam.
Azure? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Drome. Sounds like another vote for Drome or Droam. The locals call it Drome.
Ghost.
Well, I'm with you fellers.
Perfect. So Talion would be quite convincing if he was of the dissenting opinion, but I think he's outnumbered 3-1. So, so I will start preparing in the Droam direction. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, this is something I needed to know for where we're heading next in the campaign. So, Kane is going to consult with the rest of the King's Citadel, of which you think he must be a member, essentially the Trust of Breland. You guys have already met with one operative on the train into the city. So he is going to confer with his superiors and check on your intelligence and determine concrete objectives. Like he will probably come to you with a suggestion of a way forward, or at least contacts that you can make who will be, friendly to you along the way. But yeah, specifically, you will either, I guess we'll see what he comes up with. He'll get back to you in a couple of days from that point.
Okay.
I'll be waiting for my advance.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down your terms. Travel expenses 1/4 up front. All right. That'll be interesting.
Rex Cat, come on. You are a pain. Come over here. Lay down.
By the time by the time evening is upon you all, I guess your thoughts are probably turning to dinner at this point. Um,
Let's go do your assignment. I'll tell you how it tastes.
I have homework. Yeah, actually, that would be great. But what is it? What does the mouth feel?
yeah.
Unctuous.
Unctuous. Oh,
Excellent.
great.
Okay. So you guys make your way to. You guys would have to cross to the east to head to Tavik's Landing. You guys are in Middle Memphis currently, so there are several bridges that kind of span the gap between the two districts of the city here. So you all make your way into Tavik's Landing and just kind of begin working your way down. Middle Tavik's Landing is largely, I think, residential, although there's always taverns and such blended throughout. So there's inns, marketplaces, the apartment homes. There is a whole tavern district, of course. You would also know that when you guys cross into Middle Tavik's Landing, you're actually not too far from Cornerstone. So Cornerstone is a district. The Cornerstone is the name of like the arena and Coliseum, and you could see that because of the days leading up to Brightblade kind of being upon us, this district does seem particularly crowded. A lot of the inns are kind of filling up, and their taverns and common rooms are kind of like spilling onto the street a bit with people who are drinking. Many of them armed and armored. You could see like several contests of strength throughout. So you could see, people just kind of wrestling, arm wrestling, and just full on wrestling. And there are a number of vendors peddling like all manner of arms and armor as well, like scattered throughout. Like I said, Brightblade is approaching. It just creeps up on you every year. But working your way into Middle Tavik's Landing, you do notice that in addition to the Brellish people that you guys have kind of seen throughout the city, as like the most common citizens, you are seeing Cyran folk as well, in larger numbers here than in other areas. So let's take a quick look here. Cyran refugees in Shard.
I will keep an eye out for maybe a Cyran restaurant or cafe or even street food cart.
Yep. I think
I think-
old-fashioned pub crawl in front of us.
Finally, he talks sense.
So, before the war, Cyr was like kind of at least according to them, they were kind of the crown jewel of all the kingdoms, basically. I think I guess like I tend to think of them as being like a bit more like older, like continental European like nations. So cafe, less of coffee and probably more of like a tea house. But you probably, especially kind of working your way through Middle Tavik and getting a little bit of distance away from the Cornerstone district, you would find a tea house. Let's see here. You find a tea house that's the sign says in just kind of like beautiful calligraphic scrolling basically, the Queen's Leaf, and it is very aromatic. I would say they're very aromatic tea, just kind of wafting out of there. They do serve a little bit in the way of food, like you could get like biscuits and whatnot, tea and biscuits,
Cucumber sandwiches.
jammy Dodgers, the usual. You could see that there are no prices posted to the menu. A lot of
Everything's free. I love this place.
Nothing is ever free.
New.
Yeah, the proprietess is kind of like narrows her eyes at you when you cry that out. And she says, well, not quite, friend. For Cyrans who long for a taste of a home lost to them, it's cheaper. For those such as yourselves, well, just know that
Technically, I'm a Cyran. Born and raised.
Oh, from one of the creation forges there?
Yes.
He does have a point.
Finally, I have a point.
She says, well then, I'm not sure if I believe you, but you sound sincere enough. I didn't think your kind... I didn't think your
Sounds sincere. Or
Yeah.
I didn't think your kind imbibed. You would like some tea?
For my friends. They are family, brothers and sisters from other patriarchal relationships. But we are here together to learn more of my heritage.
Interesting. Make a persuasion check.
Okay. I rolled terribly, but I would like to use one of my divine rolls and make that a 14,
Your portent.
which is as good as I can get it.
Nice. She nods and she says, yes, perhaps they can describe to you the delicate notes and nuances of these flavors. So she would also say, of course, any coin spent here is for the benefit of the community. So keep that in mind. But she gestures for you all to sit down. One of her daughters comes out and, takes orders from you. You can see, like I said, there's like a menu kind of posted over the bar there, basically, but without any prices.
I like to think that there's almost like a tea service. Like there's like a whole sort of pomp and circumstance around the delivery of the tea. So it's not just the tea itself, but like there's not quite like
there's a
being
show.
but it's dinner and a show situation.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think, like I said, this is from a culture, especially they're trying to preserve those traditions. So you can see that the woman, after her daughter kind of takes your orders, she comes out and kind of like assists her, kind of making sure that she does it just so. But yeah, you could see that the ceramic of the teapot and the cups you're drinking out of, it looks old, slightly battered. A little bit of like the gilding has been stripped of it in places, but it's got like a little bit of gold inlay, a couple of chips out of a few places, but it looks like a well loved set. But she supervises her daughter as her daughter, very much like pours from the teapot into one cup and then places it back down to pick it up and pour gently into another, and things like that. And you are given like small like refreshments as well. All of this, only sets you back like 2 silver basically for this. But you can see that a lot of the Cyrans were kind of eyeballing you all as you came in. You see like maybe one other Brellish person in here who's got his nose buried in like a broadsheet or whatever. He doesn't look up. But the rest of them are just kind of like looking at a unique-looking Warforged and the kind of odd company he's keeping. But nonetheless, nobody is disturbing you. At one point, I guess, you kind of catch the eye of somebody who is staring at you, and they just kind of give you like a nervous nod. Yeah.
We're having tea!
Perfect. So, a Ghost, do you think that what you glean from this, perhaps for your writing assignment, just make an investigation check. Actually, your powers of observation are at work here.
All right, I rolled terribly, so I'm going to use my other divine and make it a 12, which for me would be a 17.
Yeah. To you, it looks like, the all of the tea sets here have been. There's a lot of matching pieces that all kind of show a lot of wear, and it looks like these were possessions that were probably carried a long way after the morning. And you see kind of the gentle approach and like the way that it is served, and the daughter kind of very sheepishly coming by and just making sure that your cup kind of remains at least half full, and things of that nature. You do.
I will bring it up to like I'm drinking, but obviously I'm not going to pour it into my face. But yeah, so I will be, pretending as we go conversationally with everyone else as if I'm partaking.
Elbows off the table, silverware from the outside in.
Perfect.
It was a mandatory course at the Reckonmark.
In case you're ever invited to state dinner. You observe, like I said, all of this shows to you that this was maybe an important part of the culture, and it's something that they preserved as best they could when they traveled, a great distance. In general, it's pretty quiet here. You never hear the conversation at the other tables rise up like above a murmur. And it's a very peaceful way to pass a short bit of time. But I think your companions, are... they attempt to describe the taste to you. You get the equivalent of probably like, something very basic, like an Earl Grey, I guess. I don't really drink tea. But then the other cup that you're provided is a much more punchier, like aromatic, maybe some like fruit derived situation or infused, which you describe to a ghost as best you can. But by the time you finish this whole thing, it is well into dinner time, and you can tell that these little bit of cookies and whatnot that you have had, the dainty little crumbs that they are not filling. That being said,
if the daughter that's pouring away comes back to the table, I'll straight up ask her, is there a place nearby that does specifically Cyran dinners? Like full meals?
She like is maybe like a little bit taken aback by you. She like looks to her mother, kind of shrugs her shoulders, and the mom just kind of like looks to a ghost again and says, "You're really about this, it seems, and your friends are gracious enough to be along for the ride." Yes. There is a place not too far. Hang on just a second. She thinks for a moment. Let's come up with...
Wants to learn.
She kind of starts giving you directions, starting from where you are, heading off along a few streets and further down into Lower Tavix Landing than you currently are. Let's see here. She gives you directions. Essentially, she says this place is one of the most commercially successful, at least, and a large number of their profits do go towards helping the other refugees, especially those who have yet to make it into the city. She tells you that the name of the establishment is The Taste of New Siri, and you note that she pronounces it Siri specifically. Whereas, everybody else has gone sire or seer. Siri seems to be the pronunciation among the natives. So following those directions, you can definitely make your way there. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do it justice. I want to spend some time. I'll prep that a little bit more. Yeah, because I want to try and capture that vibe just right, especially since a ghost. This is such an area of interest for you all of a sudden. So that being said,
No worries.
yeah. Like I said, I didn't have a ton of material prep tonight, but I also really needed to know which direction you guys were thinking about heading from here. So now that I know that it's
happens.
almost certainly going to be Droam, I need to get cracking on that. That being said, do you guys care if we wrap up for the evening here?
No,
Cool.
I just want to thank the lady of the house and the daughter, and I'll graciously tip them like 5 gold pieces because I have no concept of money and I have that much, so I'll give them 5 gold and thank them for sharing this part of our culture with me, and for almost like a weird moment be sort of like not compassion, what's the word I'm looking for, sincere. That I did feel that there was something about this that did kind of connect with me a little bit. So
You're ready to be more human. Oh.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, actually, so that's the thing. I mean, you don't breathe, so you don't have a sense of smell. But I think just even seeing the tea set and seeing the tea and the tea set and seeing all these people, it does kind of give you like I think like a weird sense of familiarity. Like you could tell that, yeah, there's something about the pattern perhaps of the tea set that is particularly like maybe even evocative of like the crown molding that was like in your creation forge or something. Like the way that it's like kind of like a fleur de lis shape. Fleur de lis is that the thing I'm thinking of? Bec de Corbin. I'll just start naming pole arms. What's one of them?
The glaive, Gisarm glaive.
Yeah.
That being said, you can see immediately, which she tries to refuse. She says, this is too much. And she, looks at it and kind of pushes like 4 of the gold back away.
And I will insist. We will return, and perhaps in the future, we can spend more time with you.
So even by the time that you're exiting, you can see that she has made change like out of the till as best she can, and you could see like as you guys are exiting through the windows that her daughter is going about and kind of like just very like slyly placing a couple of silver pieces on the tables of the other Cyrans in the establishment. The Brelish gentleman still hasn't put down his paper to take any of this in, but you can see that the sense of community here is seemingly very strong. I'll roll that into your investigation check that you spotted that. But
Sure.
yeah, so we'll pick up next time. Specifically, we'll examine a little bit of Syrian cuisine. We'll meet back up with Talion, and then the next couple of days will unfold. I would also say, as you guys are moving through, especially Middle Tavix, you've started to see individuals placing up posters describing the events of the next few days. And a ghost, you've poured over that immediately. You could see that there will be there's a reenactment of one of the battles of the last war that's going to be held at the cornerstone in the Colosseum itself. It says the name of the engagement has yet to be revealed, but it promises a spectacle beyond any imagining. It says tickets are available for sale. It lists the Cornerstone box office. So that's something you guys could also possibly hit up while you're on this side of Sharn. And you can also see that scattered all throughout these postings that you're seeing, there are calls for strong men and women to participate in a number of competitions. There is going to be a Skyblades joust tomorrow evening between in the air between Tavix Landing and the Memphis Plateaus. There's just, like I said, everywhere you look, somebody is nailing up a post. Arm wrestling tournaments and things of that nature. So it looks like in the next few days, all of those events are going to unfold, and there will be opportunity if some of you would like to get involved in those. But yeah, that is definitely what's coming next. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Well, yeah, guys, glad we got to meet again. Sorry, like I said, I should have spent more time prepping after we canceled all the other times, but I was just like, okay.
Fine, no worries.
Real life happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an authentic campaign experience for those watching and listening in the future, because sometimes
Where
happens
half
that
the
way.
issue is scheduling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the real problem is I was talking to Michael before we got started. Like, you guys are in Sharn. You could literally say you want to do anything in the world, and I'm just like, like, yeah. But perfect. Well, I have been your DM this evening. Apologies for the audio issues. This will be this. I've lost 1.5 episodes to OBS Amateur Hour, so. Thanks for your patience and potential viewership now or ever. My name is Ralph, and I'm at Critthulu on Twitter, CRITTHULHU. Michael, you want to say goodbye to everyone? Anyone?
So I'm Michael. Again, I've been playing a ghost. You can find me at the RPG Academy. Come hang out with me there, listen to my stuff, and we'll see you back here in roughly a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm Julia playing Azure. I credit This Nerdy Home on Facebook.
And they play Gideon Blacklake at Blackball Press at all the things.
Perfect. Well, yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Hopefully we get at least one more in before Christmas.
Enjoy. Eat too much. Watch football. Take nap. Best holiday ever.
Yeah. Well, have a good one, guys. We'll see you around.
All right.
All
Thanks, everybody.
right. Cheers.
Bye.